Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another cooking video. Today's video was probably the most challenging video I have ever made. It is all about $5 extreme budget meals. So I am making 5 budget-friendly meals, and all of these meals cost around $5 or less. And I know that this crazy world that we're living in, with how expensive all of the food is getting, it was very hard to come up with these recipes. However, I figured it out, and not only did they come out delicious, but they are nutritious and they are going to help you save money on your next grocery bill. So without further ado, let's get into some budget recipes. Alright you guys, so here is our little shopping haul, all of the things that we've got. I am going to price everything up on the screen for you, so if you want to do this exact meal plan, this is the whole thing that you're going to need. But these dinners are going to break down to be anywhere between $4 and $5 and change. So the highest one I think goes to $5.27. But it's a meal that's going to feed my family of 4, so I'm assuming this is going to cost around $31, $32, but we will see. But yeah, this is pretty much all the stuff we got. Like I said, I'm going to put this price up on the screen. This way you know how much each thing costs and you can tailor it to make it your own. Okay guys, please tell me I'm not the only one that does this and always forgets at least one thing. I totally forgot the milk. So it's $1.78, but it's gonna give us a half a gallon, and it's actually not a horrible price right now for milk. So we only need a half a cup, I believe, or maybe 1 cup. So let's add this to the cart. All right, so we're going to start off with a creamy tomato and sausage pasta. So I am going to list how much each individual ingredient is right on the side of the screen, so you can kind of have a better idea of what you are spending for each meal. So this is going to call for a half of an onion, 3 cloves of garlic, half a box of linguine, a half a pound of the ground Italian sausage, 1 can of diced tomatoes. I love this kind because it's Italian style, and of course milk. So we're going to start off by mincing our garlic and dicing our onion. And then we're just going to cook our pasta. I am just cooking half of the box, which gives us plenty of pasta still. Now to our pot, I am going to just drizzle in about a tablespoon of olive oil and only going to brown half of this Italian sausage. Once that's all browned, we're going to add in half of our onion and give that a good stir. And then of course, season this up with a little salt and pepper. Once our onions have had a couple minutes to get nice and translucent, we're going to stir in our garlic, and I actually seasoned it up with salt and pepper at this point, but I should have seasoned it up when I first put the onions in, but you know, we all have our moments. So we're going to mix that up, and now we're going to add in 2 tablespoons of flour. This is going to thicken up the sauce. Let that cook through for about a minute until all of the flour is cooked. And now we're going to add in our can of diced tomatoes. Give that a good mix, and then of course we need some milk. The milk is 1 cup of milk, and it's going to give it this beautiful pink color. Stir everything up well to combine, and let this simmer for about 5 to 10 minutes or until the sauce is nice and thick. And all that's left to do is to add in our pasta, give this a good toss, make sure that the noodles are completely coated in that delicious pink sauce. And you do not have to serve this with really anything, but it is so good if you added a little cheese or parsley on top. It's up to you, but we are trying to keep this budget friendly. This fed my family of 4 comfortably. Next up, we're going to be making Italian sausage soup. And yes, you guessed it, we are using that other half pound of Italian sausage. So this recipe calls for vegetables that are super affordable. So we are going to be using 1 carrot, 1 stalk of celery, half of an onion, 4 cups of chicken broth, which is equal to this 1 box, a half a box of the elbow pasta, and the other half of the ground mild Italian sausage, and then of course a half a bag of spinach, because what is Italian soup without some spinach in it? So we are going to start by dicing up our 1 carrot, our 1 celery, and half of an onion. Now over to our pot, we are going to heat up 1 tablespoon of olive oil, and we're going to brown that other half of our Italian sausage. And once it's about halfway cooked through, that is when we are going to add in the vegetables. All right, and of course we need to put in a little salt and pepper. Make sure that you are always salt and peppering your food as you go. And now I am adding in a teaspoon of garlic powder and a teaspoon of Italian seasoning. Give this a good mix. All of that salt is going to start breaking down all of the veggies and getting nice and soft and delicious. So once that has been cooking for about 4 minutes, we are going to add in our box of chicken broth. And at this point, we are going to be putting in the half a box of elbow pasta. Stir this well to combine and bring it up to a boil. And once it's been boiling for about 8 minutes until the pasta is nice and soft, then we are going to add in that half a bag of spinach. And you always want to add spinach last when you're making a soup, or else it's going to turn a really dark, gross color, and nobody likes that. So anyways, this is what it came out like. I topped it with some Parmesan cheese and served it with some saltine crackers, which is another budget-friendly little side. So it was really good, and our whole family loved this dish. This next recipe was so much fun to come up with, and it was my favorite recipe of the week. And it is a beef and chorizo chili. So it's going to have half of an onion, 1 of the pork chorizos. You could always get the beef if you wanted, 1 can of chili, 1 can of chili beans, and a can of tomato sauce. Get the 15-ounce can, not the little one, get the big one. And then I also used 1 jalapeno, which I already had on hand. It is optional, but it does add a really nice flavor. So I diced up the jalapeno and then the half of an onion. Over to my pot, I am going to add in a tablespoon of olive oil, and we are going to just brown the chorizo sausage. Well, unfortunately, because this is a cheap meat, it does have a ton of oils in it. So I am going to be just taking out as much of that as I can. So I am just wadding up a paper towel and taking it out that way. Now, once that is done, I'm going to add in my half of an onion and my jalapeno pepper. And I'm going to give this a good stir. So I am only using about a half a teaspoon of salt and a half a teaspoon of pepper, because there's plenty of salt in the ingredients that we will be using. So I'm going to add in my chili now, and this is a beef chili from Walmart, and it was so good. I was very pleasantly surprised. And then we're going to add in a can of the chili beans, and then I am going to be adding in 1 can of tomato sauce, and then I'm going to fill that can with water and fill that in there too. So give this a really good stir. We're going to bring this up to a simmer and then cover it. The longer you simmer it, the more delicious it's going to be. I simmered it for about 30 minutes, and what that does is just makes it more of a mild flavor with the jalapenos that I used. And then I just used a little bit of cheese, cilantro, and a lime and served this up, and this was so delicious, you guys. We loved it. next up, we're going to be making black bean enchiladas, and these are so delicious. So we're going to start with 1 can of black beans and 6 tortillas, and then 1 can of red enchilada sauce. And I was really excited to find this for only 98 cents at my Walmart. A half a block of cheese and 1 avocado. Now, the avocado is totally optional, but it really does bring this dish up a notch. Now, assembling these could not be any easier. So to my 9x13 baking dish, I am just spraying that with a little nonstick spray. And I did wind up rinsing and draining my beans. You do not have to. And I am just going to be putting a couple tablespoons in there and be rolling it right up. Now, I don't know what possessed me to only make 5 of these. You can absolutely get 6 out of 1 can, but I don't know, my counting was off tonight or something. But, or you can even go crazy and get 2 cans because these are only 78 cents and you can make them even bigger. You can make all 10, whatever you want, to each their own. So I am now going to just be drizzling over the enchilada sauce and topping this with the shredded cheese. And we're going to bake this at 375 for 20 minutes uncovered. This is what it comes out like. You guys, this is so good. I just topped it with our diced avocado and it was a good dish, and it's great for meatless Mondays too. So for our final budget meal, I am making a simple lentil soup. I can literally make this in my sleep. So I am starting with a bag of lentils. We're going to use 1 whole onion for this recipe. We're going to use 2 celery stalks, 2 carrots, and then 1 box of chicken broth. You will see at the end, I wind up putting in another 2 cups of chicken broth, but it is not necessary. It's just how we like our soup. So we're going to start by dicing up our onion, our carrots, and our celery. And over to our soup pot, we are going to be heating up 1 tablespoon of olive oil, and we're just going to add our veggies. We are going to season that with a teaspoon each of salt and pepper and cook that for about 5 minutes or until they are all nice and soft. And now it's time to add in our lentils. I did wind up soaking these and I picked out any stones that were left in there. Make sure that you are doing that step. You do not want to skip that. So I'm just going to give this a good stir and season it up with a decent amount of salt and pepper because that is the only seasonings that we are going to need in this recipe. And now we are going to add in our chicken broth. And then we are just going to bring this up to a simmer and cover this for about 30 minutes or until the lentils have gotten nice and soft. Now at this point, it has been 30 minutes and it was a very thick soup, so I did go ahead and add in 2 more cups of chicken broth to make this more of a soup consistency, but this is still really, really good because it is actually delicious when it's thick, and you can always add water if you wanted. So this is what it comes out like. This was a absolutely delicious meal. I hope that you guys love this meal as much as we did because it is so good. All right, friends, so that's going to do it for today's video. I hope you got some inspiration for your next grocery haul. I know that the prices out there are pretty wild right now, and we are praying that they will come down soon. If you did find value out of this video, I would love for you to hit that like button down below and consider hitting the subscribe button as well. I would love to have you here. Thank you so much, you guys, for watching, and I will see you in the next video.